Most of the time, what people say or do reflects on who they are and not on you. How most people deal with you and respond to you has to do with who that person is and not upon you. And this is where boundaries, Frank, comes into play. You have to know yourself well enough to know what really belongs to you and what doesn't belong to you. What belongs to somebody else. Because people, without knowing it, project like crazy. And they're not fair about it. They just are. I was dealing with a man the other night who was just not nice to me, to be blunt. He just wasn't being nice. And I couldn't figure out what his problem was. All I know is it didn't belong to me. It was his problem. Because in reviewing carefully our conversation, I hadn't done anything that would invite that kind of response. But what I could do, if I were less psychologically sophisticated, is walk away and say, oh, what did I do wrong? Why don't people like me? Why does everybody reject me? Generalization, you're hearing all this 10 things going on? Black and white. Why don't people like me? What did I do wrong? I really blew that interview. I really made a mistake. I don't get it. Why was he so tough? What am I doing wrong? Nothing. I didn't enjoy that encounter with him. But whatever it was, it's his hemorrhoid, not mine. It doesn't belong to me. It's about him. Do you see how boundaries are shaping up in your head a little bit? It's figuring out what belongs to you and what belongs to somebody else. Because we never know how people are going to respond. We don't know what is going on in other people's lives. And so, when our boss is unfair to us, when our spouses might be unfair, when our kids rebel or whatever, we need to own the part of it that we may have invited that. But we also need to be aware of what doesn't belong to us. Please remember, most of the time, what people say or do reflects on who they are and not on you. This is called projection.
Hey Jeff, for one to understand whether the projection is a projection or a valid flaw that you need to address. I mean, like in your case with the professor, what you did is you went and you talked to this professor and understood the situation better. And at least that's my understanding of what you were trying to do. You were trying to understand what the problem was. That's how you resolve the problem of projection, right?
The way projection is solved is ideally that, but I want to go farther. I want to explain. Let me erase this so we can talk a little bit about another concept. We'll be coming back to projection. Level of connection is an important idea. We'll do it on a scale of 1 to 5. The man who was unhappy with me the other night, yes.
Did you just tell him what I could see trying to project your own inadequacies upon me?
Hang on. The man with whom I had that issue the other night, he doesn't know me and I don't know him. So we have a very weak connection. So I don't know how he's going to react if I smack him like that. And say, what's the matter with you? Why are you doing this? Because that could invite further conflict or difficulty. And as a Christian, I'm out to make peace with people around me. I'm not out to confront. 2 is last week. Now, fairly connected. Confident. Very confident. I've known somebody for 20 years. They have been a friend to me. I've been a friend to them. We have a lot of history. I can confidently walk up to that person and say, it sounds like that we've really got some issues with what's going on between you and me. What's happening? And we're going to probably come out okay because we have a strong enough connection to do that. Think of it this way. Think of a mountain, 2 mountains, and they're connected by a bridge. And the bridge says, maximum weight 1,500 pounds. I've got a 2,000-pound rig. And I say, well, I bet if I go slow enough, it's going to hold me. Will it? It may not. And I may end up in a terrible accident at the bottom of some mountain because I don't have the connection that can handle that kind of weight. And so, I can't and I choose not to work it out with everybody because I don't know what I'm going into. If somebody begins to act in ways that I don't understand, and I don't have a real need to work it out, and I have a weak connection with the person, then I just need to work it out within myself and say, I don't know what's going on with that other person, but it doesn't belong to me. That professor was a teacher of mine. He's going to give me a grade at the end of the class. He's somebody that I was seeing 4 days a week. And I wanted to have a good relationship with him. It was important to me what he thought. So I went to him, and again, this is a term I like. I don't like confrontation. I like carefrontation. Let me describe the difference. Carefrontation is where I say I care about you, and I want to work things out. Confrontation is, I'm really sick of it, Frank. I'm really tired of it. I'm tired of you doing this or that, or this or that, or this or that. And you know what I'm waiting for? For 50 plus years of my life, I'm waiting for somebody to come along and say, Jeff, you're right. I'm wrong. You got it. I shouldn't have done that. I haven't heard that yet. I've never had a confrontation ever work out. And I have confronted people. And I have called them on their stuff. And I've never had to lead to a positive place. Not once. But if I go to you and I say, Mike, I really care about you. I consider you a friend and a valuable person. We have a difference, and I want to work it out with you. That feels a lot different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Than if I were to say, have you always been a horse's behind your whole life?
Yes, I am.
You treat everybody this way? In other words, confrontation doesn't do any good. Carefrontation is what is done. Jesus loved everyone he came in contact with, even the scribes and the Pharisees. And he carefronted them again and again. But remember, the reason I'm using the term carefront is because he wasn't trying to break a relationship with them. He was trying to love them into recognizing who he was and what his mission was about. So, people are going to project onto you all kinds of things. You have to make the decision of what the level of connection is and make a decision on how you're going to handle it. Let's take my marriage. It seems to me that you're really angry at me. And I want you to know that it's not my intention in any way, shape, or form, Patty, to have you angry with me. I want to be in a really good place with you. What can I do to help you feel better? I want you to please note all the things I didn't do. I didn't tell her she was wrong. I checked out with her what her feelings were. And I made no judgment on her feelings. Here's some terrible words. It goes back to session 1. You shouldn't feel that way. Okay, well I won't feel that way anymore. Good, thanks for telling me that. That never works. I care about you and I don't want you to be angry. And I'm not even getting into whether that anger has validity or not. I'm going to that person, my wife, with whom I hopefully do have confidence in our connection. And I am going to her and carefronting and saying, it seems to me that you might be feeling X. And then we go from there. And I assist her in feeling better. And this is a good time for us to discuss something that I want to make sure you know. For those of you with whom I've had a little contact, or maybe a lot of contact, know this already, but always worth reviewing. There are only 4 feelings that human beings have. That's it. When I supervise people, for example, that want to get a license to do psychology in the state of Illinois, or get a licensed clinical social worker, or licensed clinical professional counselor, they'll say, I don't understand what's going on with marriage. Well, I'll tell you what, you got a 25% chance of being right or greater. Because human beings have 4 feelings, and that's it. Joy, fear, anger, it's spelled here, and sorrow. That is all. Every other feeling that a human being has is a combination of those feelings. So, I walk out of here, and I say, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for being here. My pants fall down. And you all laugh. So I would be what? I would be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed. Right. So, what is embarrassment? I'm fearful of what you think of me. I'm angry that the thing happened. And I'm sad that it happened. So embarrassment is a complex emotion. It has 3 of the 4 basic emotions. You remember when you were in kindergarten or preschool, you learned about primary colors? These are the primary emotions. When dealing with people, I can assure you that the one that comes up the most is anger. It's the number 1 emotion that people experience.